Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Dr. Ray, and this is my channel where I talk about food and all things veterinarian, all that fun stuff. Today we're going to do the recall report for March 2023. It is actually Thursday, March 30th, so a day early, but I've got the information. We're going to do this today because I got a lot of fun stuff I want to film for you guys. So we're going to hop over to the FDA website and we're going to knock out the recall report for March of 2023. Okay, so one repeat offender. So they have expanded the Purina recall for the Purina Elemental diet. And so no changes there. They haven't resolved the issue. They are adding some extra SKUs to the recall. So if you already looked at this from our last video and you weren't included, you might want to pop back on this website and check out the additional SKUs. And if you want more information, you can check out the February 2023 recall if you want information on what the recall was about. But the brief, long and the short of it was this particular diet was recalled for some issues in vitamin D, so excessive amounts of vitamin D. Okay, so that's expansion of the Purina Elemental recall. One of the new ones is going to be on multiple brands of omega-3 supplementation for cats and dogs. And so if you click down here, this recall started on March 10th, and it's kind of a little bit of a weird one. It is a recall due to elevated levels of vitamin A. So we have another elevated vitamin, toxicosis. This one is kind of interesting because it's a company, Stafford Care USA Incorporated of Odessa, Florida. And so most of these are going to be issues in Florida. And what this company does is they make these omega-3 soft gels, and then they will brand them for the specific veterinary clinic. So basically they'll put the veterinary clinic's label on them, but they manufacture all of them. So there are a lot of clinics that were affected by this recall. You can scroll down the list. Like I said, most of them are in Florida because it is a Florida thing. But what will happen is a company will make a product, and then they'll put the veterinary clinic's label, and then the veterinary clinic will sell it at their clinic, kind of like as their personal recommendation. And so these vitamins had elevated vitamin A. From what I understand, there was really only one pet that was affected. Right here. So a sole consumer regarding their dogs exhibiting signs of vitamin A toxicity after taking the supplement. And so they went and they investigated it, and it was an issue there. I tried to find out exactly, how much was in there, what depth of concern should we have, and I couldn't really find it. Vitamin A, I have never, ever seen an issue with vitamin A. We talked briefly about there are certain vitamins that you cannot overdo. So you've got your fat soluble and water soluble, and vitamin A is a fat soluble, so it will store in the fat and cause problems over time. Mostly that's what we'll see. We'll see long-term issues with vitamin A toxicosis. So over supplementation over time will build up and you'll have some issues. It's very rare for there to be an acute issue. And so this patient, I'm assuming, had an acute toxicity to it. Vitamin A has a lot to do in animals with skeletal structures. It has to do with the cell membranes. And so when you have excess amounts of vitamin A, chronically, we'll see some bone and joint disease. So that's usually, what we would look for. But in the short term, you can get anorexia, malaise, vomiting. Vitamin A, if you are familiar in the human realm, is a precursor, I think, to like retinol or retin A, which a lot of dermatologists will use on the skin. And so if you have excessive amounts, you might see peeling of the skin or issues with the skin as well. They're also reporting here that excess can cause tremors, convulsions, paralysis, and death. But like I said, I've never seen it. And I think you would have to have a lot for this to happen. So the source of vitamin A a lot of times is going to be liver. So I'm assuming that they are using liver products that maybe just had too much vitamin A and they didn't realize it. So it's very common for anything that's going to be supplemented or any type of food or supplement that's going to be made from liver, which is a really common thing, has the potential to have excessive vitamin A. So those are all of the things, and you can scroll to them. Let me see if I missed anything here. Okay, so the requirements for the upper safety levels of vitamin A in the dog are 3,333 and 33,330 international units per kilogram. And so, I mean, you can go pretty high here. So like I said, it had to be a really whopping dose for that to be an issue. So if you find yourself with one of these products, obviously discontinue immediately. And here's a couple pictures. Like I said, there is a lot of them. Same product, just different labels for the different veterinary clinics. So if you have one of these products, discontinue, and you can contact right here, the Stafford Care USA Incorporated. So there you go. The other recall that we are seeing that's new is going to be actually a wild bird feed. So it's going to be a wild bird feed. It's right here. It's the top. It was March 20th, 2023 that this recall was posted. It's KT Products Wild Bird Food Birders Blend. And so this one actually kind of hits a little bit close to home because this is sold at Ace Hardware, which is where I do a lot of my particular shopping. So let me pull up a picture. Actually, they might have. Do they have a picture of the package here? Yeah, there it is. So KT Wild Bird Food, this is what you would put, in your bird feeder. Not obviously a pet, but still we take care of our birds, so we want to have information about recalls on that. And what the recall is specifically on this one is due to aflatoxin. And another one we really don't hear about or see too often in veterinary medicine, aflatoxin is basically a naturally occurring byproduct from the fermentation and the growth of fungus in the corn or potatoes or other various substances, but a lot of time it's going to be corn. And that bacteria is Aspergillus. And so, these bags, for some reason, maybe they got a little bit wet or something, and the aflatoxin or the Aspergillus started growing and producing this aflatoxin as a secondary byproduct. So this is going to be obviously a wild bird feed, and so you unfortunately may not be able to intervene other than removing the feed from your feeder, throwing it away, and making sure if you have this lot number that you dispose of it, and you can call this number down here to report it. But what will happen in birds and poultry is it's going to cause some issues with the liver long term. And so after eating this, they will have potentially things associated with liver issues. So they can have some hemorrhage, can have liver problems. And so that's obviously a really sad thing. Dogs can get this as well. I suppose if your cat or your dog got into the bag of bird feed, you could have some issues with aflatoxin. There's a really good website I want to share with you guys, your resources. It's the Merck manual, veterinary manual. It's got a lot of information if you want in-depth detail about what aflatoxin does in animals. So I'll link it, but you can visit this website for really in-depth information about aflatoxin. But basically, it's a fungus, it's naturally occurring, it's not an issue unless it's overpopulations of it, and it's most often affecting poultry and things like that with corn, developing this fungus. And so you'll see some issues there with the liver, and you can read more about that there. So if you have that bag of KT bird feed purchased from Ace Hardware, please dispose of it and call this number and report it. Okay. So that is a recall report from March 2023. I hope this was helpful. And if you guys want to stay up to date on recalls, please feel free to like and subscribe. And yeah, that's it. I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.